Hello everybody. Just kind of wanted to do another cold start video just to basically to give you guys an update of some of the things that I've been working on, some of the things I've accomplished. I've accomplished a few pretty big projects, or at least I'm in the process of doing some of those big projects. So I'm not on an online server right now. I'm just doing a regular cold start from just the Caucasus, what was it, Copoletti, I think. Anyways, so some of the stuff I've been working on is I've got the CDU up and running. I'm actually testing some font that I've screwed around with because I've had some issues with some odd characters. If it doesn't work, then I'm just going to go back to the other one. I did have it working, just like I said, some weird characters, but all the buttons work. I've got the countermeasure signal processor. That one is kind of half up and running. I've got a few switches working. The display will work. I'm just having to recut the actual panel because some of my hardware, like the 12th position switch, doesn't work with this panel very well. So I'm recutting it. I'll get the buttons and everything up and running properly with that. Over on this side, I've got the radio stack is now up and running with about 90% functionality. A lot of these buttons and switches that are not really necessary, I haven't wired in. I've just kind of wired in the important stuff, like the actual tuning knobs, the on-off switches, the mode switches. I'm still waiting on the preset displays to show up from China. Those take forever to show up, so I'm waiting on that. Then I'll get those wired in as well. But right now, the three displays do work. They do change. Right now the cockpit is off, so that's why the UHF is not showing, because on the actual, I don't know if I can get it to show you. You can see that it's actually blank. That's why it reflects blank there. So we shall see. Oh, I've got a tablet here for showing the CGI or whatever it's called for the Hoggit server, although like I said, I'm not on that right now, but we're playing with it. The lights you see right there is just because there's a gap. I think this IFF panel, I think I need to insulate it because it seems like when I have it butted all the way up against the SAS panel, I'm getting weird issues over here. So we shall see. So I'll do the best I can. I don't know if I'll get through a takeoff properly because it's really hard to flip back and forth. I'm having to record this with my hand. So we'll see. We'll see where we get. So let's just start firing it up. Battery power. Inverter. That's a step in the right direction. Got that stuff working. Okay. Test fuel. Fuel's good. I am just going to throw on my typical loadout up here. About 70% fuel-ish. And my deadbolt skin. Alright. Radio's turned on. So these knobs are temporary. I do have the 3D printed knobs that are the proper ones. So you see the UHF came up. I just haven't drilled them out and got them painted yet. So that's on the list of things to do. Just haven't gotten there yet. So we'll get there. APU. Guess we'll uncage the standby. Wakey wakey. There it goes. Being a little laggy. No big deal. I'm going to close that cockpit since they still haven't fixed our frickin' switch. They've had like, what, 5 updates since they broke our switch for the canopy and still haven't bothered to fix it. Alright, that's up and running. Alright, we'll see if this works or not. Like I said, I screwed around with some of the code. I have no idea if it actually works. I am by no means a programmer. When I got the countermeasure thing up and running, that was like the biggest accomplishment of my life. Well, I'm able to read it so far, so it wasn't a complete disaster, whatever it is I messed around with. Kind of crossing my fingers that this ends up working. We'll wait for it to go through its bit test. I'll get the alignment going. I'll do a fast align, that way it's a little quicker. Almost done. No, I didn't fix anything. Lovely. So I don't know if you guys could see it. There's just like little issues with some of the text. I don't know. Whatever. At least it still works. Fast align. Okay. Now that's going. Get the first engine going. And just so you guys could see the countermeasure station. So there you go. Got the text is up. Those are on, and they should switch over to, there you go, there's the count. So this was the biggest pain in the butt I've come across so far, because there's very little documentation for this particular board. I had to search the buttholes of the internet to find just like an example sketch that got it working. And then I had to figure out how to get it to do all this basically myself. And like I said, I'm not a coder. I did some programming in college like 20 years ago. Actually, probably more than that. Damn, I'm old. But it's not really relevant these days. But I did somehow get it to work, and I'm pretty pumped. So I'll be able to work on that panel, which uses the same board. I'm even down here, I'm going to do the ILS and TACAN panels using the 16-digit versions of those, now that I can get it to work. That way it's just a little cleaner. I'm pretty excited about that, but I got to wait for those boards to show up from God knows where. Helps if I do the bit test. Oops, I guess I had those in the wrong position. Forgot to reset those. Okay, taxi lights, anti-skid. And did I load all? I did. CDU, that is up and running. Nav. Iggy. Sometimes I have a hard time with this thing actually kicking on. I don't know what it is. It's not a code issue. It's not a wiring issue. It's finicky. Like, I'll push the button and on the screen you can see it pushing, but it just doesn't light up. Not even on the game. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, it's a minor issue. I very rarely screw around with those things, but still, it's kind of annoying. Yep, that's all loaded. Set that over to the right place. Okay, now that those are up, I will kick off my APU. Yaw and SAS panels are up. Trim and arm the seat. So that is that. I am ready to taxi. I think those F-16s are actually coming over my way, so I'll wait for those things to... Where are they? Yeah, see those little jerks in my way. Come on, boys. Technically, I think I'm supposed to go down to that one if I were to go through the radio and request permission to taxi, but that way's a lot closer, so I'm going to go that way, but those two Falcons are in my way, so is what it is. Hopefully the next time I do one of these videos, I can use a head-mounted display or a camera. I did get one. Ended up being an absolute piece of garbage, both the audio and the video. I mean, the video looked like something out of the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's supposed to be a 1080p resolution. Yeah, no, it was grainier than VHS tapes. It was terrible. All right. Yeah, it wants me to go to 2.5. I am not going to 2.5. That is way too long of a taxi. even with me waiting for those F-16s, it still wouldn't be there ready to go. So I got a lot of projects that I'm working on kind of simultaneously while I'm doing all this. I'm kind of going through some of these panels and changing out the backlighting. Like the SAS panel I had set up like the others where it's individual LEDs plugged in back there, and I changed it to a panel that's set down about an inch or two and uses LED strips, so it's a little bit broader. So on the downside, you can get some shadowing around the switches and knobs and whatnot, but the upside is where it's not shadowed, it's a much more even lighting. I don't know, I think that looks really great. Compared to over here, I think you can see that there's just some dim spots where some of my LEDs don't work all the time all that great. I get, even over here, there's some LEDs that are just dimmer than others, and they weren't always like that. I lose LEDs here and there. I don't know if it's just because I got super cheap LEDs and they're garbage, or if I'm terrible at wiring. Either are distinct possibilities. But this seems to be a much more reliable way of going about it. Pitot heat. I keep blocking my head tracker. Pitot heat. Anyway, that pitot heat is something I'm going to be changing here, or fixing here pretty soon too. That panel, the environmental, or not the, yeah, the environmental panel's just about ready to go. And off we go. Nose wheel steering off, passing 80, 100, 120 knots, and about 130, 135 is where I start to rotate. There we go. Rotate, and gear up. Flaps up. Another successful takeoff, which is not too shabby considering that's a two-handed job and I'm holding the camera with one hand. So I managed not to crash. That's always nice. Turn that off for a second. I usually leave the cockpit view on just because I get a little disoriented otherwise. It's kind of hard to tell what my aircraft is doing when I can't actually see it. So, I don't know. It's kind of a personal preference. Although when I'm actually in the middle of attacking stuff, I'll generally do this because I can see the targets and everything better and get a better look around. So, anywho, that's about all I wanted to show you guys today.